Hey guys, it's Kendall. For this week, our question was, what is worth teaching? And the three questions I got off of that were, what is the best and most effective way to decide what is worth teaching? Does the age of who you're teaching have a factor when deciding what is worth teaching? And what do I do if a parent or guardian gets upset or doesn't agree with the fact or with what I've decided to teach in the classroom? I think personally these ones just apply to me the most when I was coming up with them, and they were decisions that I've realized I'm gonna have to make in the future, and I'm not good at making those kind of decisions, so they were good. I was good to be able to research these and get input from my peers. For the first question, what is the best and most effective way to decide what is worth teaching? I figured the best and most easiest way was to just research it. There's obviously other people, it all depends on the subject you're teaching, I think, but I think if you do research of past teachers or the subjects or past subjects, and you could look at what other teachers have done, and along with that, I think you can get input from others. You can ask students. I told this a couple times actually, but I had a high school teacher who would, at the beginning of the year, as a history class, at the beginning of the year would ask us if there's anything in particular that we'd like to learn about. And obviously we were in an AP class, and so there were certain things we had to learn for the AP test. But besides that, there was other things that maybe we wanted to learn about, and he would ask us what we'd want to learn, and I thought that was super cool. And I think other teachers, I think also have a good input. Maybe everyone has their own different teaching styles in their classroom and they do different things. So I think if we get different inputs of what other teachers teach, especially in our own subject that we're teaching, I think that's super important, and I think that will help. I think the most effective way would just be not to do it alone. I think just getting input from others and doing your research is a good way to figure out what's worth teaching. For my second question, does the age of who you're teaching have a factor when deciding what is worth teaching? This answer is pretty obvious. Obviously, what I'm going to teach a 5th grader isn't something I'm going to teach a 12th grader, and vice versa. Because obviously whatever I'm teaching to a senior in high school, it's going to be different than what I'm teaching a 5th grader. And so I think, yes, it does have a factor, but I think when you're thinking about age, I think not only do you have to think about whether or not they're going to understand it, I think you're going to have to think about whether or not it applies to them. And in high school, I took an economics class, and it was not one of my favorite classes to take, and I'm sure it applied to everyone else, because we learned about stocks, we learned about balancing a bank, stuff like that, and it probably would have been super helpful had I paid attention better. But we didn't take the economics class until we were probably seniors in high school, because when you're a freshman, that's probably not something you want to learn about. And so that's what I thought of when I was thinking about this question. It is pretty self-explanatory, but I thought it was still good to research and to get more input on it from other people. And lastly, what do I do if a parent or guardian gets upset or doesn't agree with what I have decided to teach in my classroom? Somebody actually on the discussion board posted a Scholastic article about dealing with angry parents, and I read it and it was super cool. And some of the things that he said were to stay calm and don't escalate. Listen to what they're telling you and listen to their concerns, because I'm sure most of the time they're actual concerns and they have their own ways of thinking and their own opinions. And if you need to, get an administrator involved. I thought of this question because I'm super bad in those kinds of situations, but I'm sure that they're gonna happen. So, that's why I decided to ask it. I think staying calm and don't escalating is super important, because they're just thinking about their kid and they're thinking about what's best for them. And like I said, listening to what they're telling you is super important as well, because even if you've already decided what to teach, maybe they just have their own views or their own opinions about what you're teaching. And I'm sure there's a way to resolve it or to compromise to a degree. And that's why maybe if there isn't, or if they're still being difficult, you can get an administrator involved, just someone with more authority, which is a good idea, because there's also that median, there's that mediator to help you out. But obviously this is going to happen. I don't think there's a perfect classroom. I don't think everyone's going to agree with what you have to say. And so I think that's super important, just to know how to deal in those situations. I know personally it was good to research that for future times. So yeah, thank you.